So, let's see if this works. Better now? Okay. So, welcome everybody. My name is Chris. I'm your host for this panel as we are exploring digital ecosystems for a new generation of artists, and that in the context of photography. So I'm very excited. A quick intro on our guest today. We have to my left Aida Boldeanu. She is restoring people's self-image and capturing the emotional depth and connection with our own body beyond the physical aspect of it. Her work is more than just photography, it's a form of therapy. And then we have Ben Skaar over here, photographer, digital artist, exploring the emotional connection between travel and place, based in New York, and probably it's fair to say he is the youngest among us, so he is probably the new generation. Then we have Robert, CEO of Verisart, pioneer in NFT certification and artist platforms, formerly led Sedition and Saatchi Online. And we have Alex Atashkar, co-founder of Seed Photo, global speaker, simplifying tech like Web3 or AI for creators and communities. So getting started, I would like to know how you view photography currently. What is it? What's the state of photography in Web3 right now? And would like to start with Aida, your take on that.
First of all, I'm happy to be here. Thank you everyone for joining us. As about photography, I believe for me, first of all, it's a tool. It's an educational tool and it's an artistic tool as well. I believe we can reach beyond the obvious. We can work it as a form of therapy, as you said, being a tool, and we access people's emotions and connection to themselves. When I am doing my photography, I'm actually working also with a therapist if the people who are my models want to go through that session before. And we are giving them the space to heal and explore and just enjoy themselves. Even in the room, there are some of my models, because I'm working also with people from Web3 and Web2 and whoever I get to meet. And overall in Web3, I believe photography is one of the greatest genres. Why I'm saying that is because it's the mother of visual arts. So everyone can thank us for that. Thank you.
So, Ben, you've been a little bit later to photography than Aida, is probably fair to say. But being a fully digital native, what's your view on the space today?
Yeah, so I've been doing photography since I was about 14. I guess that's now 7-8 years ago. I think photography in the space is actually really well positioned to continue the meaningfulness of the medium. What photography is you're snapping the shutter and you're freezing that moment in time. You're giving that moment that you take the picture of provenance. And it's really in line with what blockchain is, which is also about the provenance and the storage of information, the block per se. So when you mint a photo, for me that's an incredible kind of combination of technology and ethos. I really have a very optimistic view on where photography will go from here. I think that the medium of blockchain for storing photography is incredibly succinct.
I see. Robert, what about you? Do you share the optimism of Ben? What do you think? Where are we at currently?
Well, I mean, we're in the Instagram generation, right? So photography has led the adoption of Instagram. I think, photographs now somewhat kind of being displaced by video, in your typical kind of scroll and feed. But I think there are very different worlds of photography, like there are different worlds of art. And, the kind of gallery represented photographers who like Wolfgang Tillman and others, you haven't necessarily seen those types of photographers coming into the Web3 audience. I think you've seen your own new types of photographers like Ben, like Brendan North, like Justin Avesano, people who are very able, like the Web3 kind of known artists, to bring their community with them, and starting to really push the technology and the sort of tools into creating something that perhaps isn't as pigeonholed by our traditional, conventional structures of what we think photography should look like today. So I would say it's a moment of great technological innovation. We were chatting before about how advanced drones have got in terms of the work that photographers are able to do with them from just the last 5 years, and we're going to see an equal kind of like rapid advancement of technology, which I think photographers who are also techno enthusiasts will probably have the most interesting body of work.
I see. So I see Alex nodding. So you seem to agree with that take, or what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. As they said, I think it's very clear. When you're talking about photography, you are talking about the main model of digital world. Photography was the first digital art, way before blockchain. And as Ben said, photography is capturing the moment. You want to make it eternal? Connect it to blockchain. Is that simple. So, but the point is, 3 years ago when we started our platform, no one took us really serious because everyone was busy with only Bitcoin and Ethereum and all those ICOs, etc., etc. But we are attending so many events every year. Just go to NFC artist category right now and check the artist value. You can see that photographers are top of the line. It wasn't like this last year. Photographers are moving so fast through this journey of Web3, and each year we go further. You're going to see more photographers going to engage to the Web3, and then the full impact going to help the arts to be survive.
That sounds good. Let's hope so. So, coming closer to our main topic, like ecosystems, platforms, I think the original idea for the panel was yours, Ben, right? So you probably have a strong opinion there, I would think. And as we have a setup where we have both builders as well as artists, I would like to know what do you expect from the builders, from the platforms, from ecosystems? What that you need from them, that you wish they would do or understand better?
Bluntly speaking, I just think we are in dire search of more patrons. I think that the space can only succeed if it grows in size, and from what I've seen the past couple of years is that it's maintained the same kind of familiar faces. So I think in order to actually cultivate the ecosystem for another generation of artists, we need to be, as like platforms, dedicated to onboarding new people. And that's a lot easier said than done, to be honest. So I'm looking for creative solutions for patronage. That's something that I'm constantly chatting with people online about. If we look back to the Renaissance days, there was people and genuine wealth that was dedicated to the advancement of artistry and just creative talent. We saw this with court painters, and this is something that's a lot more difficult to find today. I think that the funding for the visual arts and creativity alone has dried up immensely. It's a shame. Lots of education systems are starting to put less and less value on the arts. So I'm really just looking for like a revival of the human spirit for creativity. It's a big ask.
That's a big goal. Yeah. Robert, what would you answer to that? Like how can you support this? Is this fully aligned with how you see it? What would your reply be?
I mean, having been involved in the numerous artist platforms from Saatchi to Session to Verisat, I think the first thing is you want a platform that gives the art or the photography enough room to be appreciated. You don't want to sort of have it crowded with lots of other visual noise. I think that's a responsibility just to create a good online viewing experience. And there are platforms that do that really well, and there are other platforms that are less that they don't see that as their number one priority. It might be driven more about engagement and trading and, sort of like a content coin type of environment. So I think knowing where you want to be is important, and what that platform offers you in terms of, the gallery view space, or how you are positioned as an artist within their feed or anything like that. So we partnered early on with Super Rare back in, I guess, 2020. We did some of the first NFTs from people in the more traditional art market, like Shepard Fairey and Random International, Neil Bluford and others. And for a lot of the artists who spend a lot of time with their galleries, thinking about how their work is presented in physical format, this is the sort of first point that they're really trying to feel comfortable with, is that their work is going to be displayed in a contextual manner that they can resonate with. So I think that's important from a platform point of view. I think it's also important, from archiving. I mean, we talked about, your use of like custom contracts or Manifold. We support custom contracts too, but I think there's a lot that photographers, artists need to think about with regards to how they see the long-term kind of autonomy of their authorship of the work. And then finally, this whole area of digital preservation. Again, are you shooting in RAW? Are you making sure you're keeping your own backups? Are you sort of like, you have to be super detailed and organized, once you're dealing with thousands and thousands of images. We've had now more than 250,000 certified works through VerisArt. So, we feel we've built a system that can, handle and classify and display works in collection format that hopefully people enjoy.
I want to pick up on one line you said earlier, I think it's so important in how do you want your art to be shown? What's the context? What's the surrounding? And I think it's obviously you have more options if you are in a physical room, right? How you can interact with the art and how you can display it. In a digital setting, I think it's a little bit more difficult because you are very one-dimensional in a sense, right? So, Aida, how do you want your art to be shown in a digital space, in a platform? What would be the setting that you are looking for, where you would say, yeah, that's it. This is how I want my art to be presented?
Well, as you can see, my art is very minimalist. I guess my colors too. So I always look for a very clean layout, and that would display the image itself and the name of the collection, the name of the artist, and then maybe a drop-down menu, or when you click on it, you would have all the other details, right? And then a mini gallery with other pictures from the collection. I'm not sure that the design or the visual aspect is that important, but yeah, I'm answering your question. So I would go for a structured and straightforward kind of display, because people are distracted and they are busy and also overwhelmed by the information we are getting. So I think it has to be efficient. So you get to the point, and in that second when you are actually paying attention, you decide if you are in the right place and looking at the thing you are looking for.
I just want to quickly respond, because I actually really disagree. I think that the site that presents the work is actually extremely important, the format of it. Like how we design the room that the art is placed in a gallery or a museum, it actually will it could theoretically enhance the value of an object based on its surroundings. So if you think of that in a digital space, I would, as an artist personally, I love when the site can complement the piece that it showcases. The work that I make is just very dedicated to transporting somebody into a scene and immersing them. So I love when I can customize the web page to suit the art piece that it's presenting.
And by customize, what would you like to have there?
I think I'm just like a sovereignty maxi. So as much as much customization as you can give me. I don't know. Let me customize the fonts, the page color, the formatting. Let me make it big and small. I don't know. I use Squarespace for all my website stuff, and it's just so much fun to just customize.
Don't we have the personal website for that, to go nuts on it? Because the platform has to fit everyone's taste, sort of.
I see what you mean. Yeah, no. I just think I'm not really one that like, I don't really care for standardization of a format for the websites. I would love just like a marketplace where everybody can customize their storefront. I think that's a beautiful thing when the storefront itself can become an extension of the artist.
Alex, what's your take? I see some.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not agreeing with our friends here because I really believe that creating a profile for the artist is a must. Yeah, okay. Each artist should have his own, her own website, whatever. But it's not just about artists. It's about collector. And collectors, they buy art in the respective and famous places. It's very simple. If you want to collect art, you already know if you are going to a cheap shop downtown or you are going to Christie. It's a different game. When you go to a cheap shop downtown, you know that the price of the art gonna be what? 10, 20 euro? But when you go to Christie, you know that you need minimum of $250,000 in your pocket. It's completely different collectors. So the artist, all of the artists, I believe, this is my personal humble opinion, should understand that it's not just about artists. It's about collector perspective as well. If you do not showcase your artwork in a famous and reputable platforms, you cannot expect international or whatever global engagement with your artwork.
Okay, I get your point, but we are talking about the design, the layout. Why are we referring to if it's expensive or
That's
cheap?
exactly the point, because when you go to the top brands, you always have the best of the best over there. I mean, these days we are talking about decentralized, right? There are so many, let's say, NFT marketplaces. But how many of those NFT marketplaces you can find a proper UX, UI design? Only the top ones. Because the mid-range one or the very, very newborn ones, they don't have all of those proper structures to give more value to your artworks. My main point is we need to search for the platforms who give more value to your artworks if you want to really promote your artworks in a different level.
Yes, with this we agree. Like they have to participate to that too. But I don't think that only few of the platforms can offer a good image. Yes,
Exactly.
of course, we are using only few, but there are not that many as you want us to believe now.
Exactly. You see,
So-
for me, I'm a book collector as well. Immediately when you pick up your book, I got it. This is a good one. Why? From here, I can see the quality. I can see the quality of cover, the packing, the design. This is not a cheap book.
So you are
This is
telling me
designed
you are going to offer me something that I can refuse?
Oh,
so
definitely.
I can live with it?
Definitely. Yeah. I gonna buy the book.
You
and
ran into it, sorry.
Definitely. And I'm gonna get, how many should
Let's
I
have
buy?
an auction, please.
5. Agreed. 5 deal. Done.
Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah, we're gonna record that. Sure. Okay.
So this was obviously a pretty
Sold.
successful,
Thank you.
successful sale so far.
Yeah.
But going back a little bit to photography and the digital ecosystems, like what makes a photographer in Web3 successful right now? Is it the reputation, the platform, the artwork, obviously, the story that is being told, how the pieces are distributed? I mean, there are a million different angles from one could approach this. What's your take? What's successful photography, Robert?
I mean, I feel like it's the point I was kind of saying earlier, which is that it's photographers like Ben that have, for a long time, been online engaging with a community. You know, initially, I think it was to learn, to get feedback, you know, but just to have the confidence to put stuff out there and see what comes back is in itself kind of a novel thing for some people to do. You know, particularly, I think, older generation of creators that were sort of waiting for somebody else to perhaps open a door for them. You know, people are very much pushing through those doors themselves, finding their digital distribution means, and they are kind of their practices evolving alongside their collectors, you know, and it seems to be quite an organic process. And I think that that is a really important element to what makes a successful Web3 photographer. And then I think that, are you seeing something that's a little bit different than what you might have already seen before? And that all artists have that problem, right? Are they able to kind of get their voice across, get their message across in a way that feels, you know, kind of new and interesting for that community of collectors to look at? And so, you know, in terms of Web3 photography, I like when, you know, there's some element of movement that's associated with the image, because again, that is a response to what a screen can offer you. So, you know, you're finding these kind of like different ways. And I think what now I was to the artist studio visit yesterday with an artist that's, you know, working with a dye transfer process on the back of sort of aluminium dye bonds, but, you know, she's photographing, then she's digitizing, then she's kind of transferring the photo, and there are layers of paint on it. And so I think that this process, which involves perhaps different worlds and creates something new as a result, where it goes from physical to digital, back to physical again, I think is also interesting. I think people can feel that.
Does that resonate with you, Ben?
Big time. Yeah.
Tell us more.
Yeah, I'll echo a lot here, but my thesis is that the photographers, and even more so artists as a whole, that are succeeding right now in this new digital renaissance are the ones that are able to utilize all the tools that are made available to them, which is why I advocate for more tools to be made available to artists. This includes, on the platform end, just like, I think, greater, we need to be more focused, I think, on providing spaces to artists online for them to fully align like their own self-expression, which, I mean, I don't want to go back to the customization thing, but for more so the funding, but like, we just have to, the beauty of an artist and a photographer is their ability to share their lens and their outlook and perspective on their own life experiences. And the more well-suited they are to convey that experience or that idea that they have online, the more likely it is that they're going to succeed in that, because they're going to succeed because that idea connects with people. And I think right now there's still very strong barriers between the artist's ability to express an idea and for it to be delivered, especially for photographers. The value of the medium is heavily restricted.
I see what you're saying. Alex, you're nodding. You're agreeing this time?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because for us from the beginning, there was only 3 pillars to do this job. First, education, and then transmission, and then promotion. If you give these 3 to photographers, then yeah, everything gonna happen in a very right way. Because first, you have to educate them. You know, based on experience, we know that over 90% of the photographers, they don't like to learn new technologies. They don't like it. Even for them to come to Instagram was a big deal, you know? And now we are talking about, oh, those wallets, installation, blockchain is law. They don't like it. So for us, the transmission was very hard. That's why we built something very easy for them with a simple Gmail address. They come to Web3. They don't need anything else. And then we have to educate them. We created so many different educational material for them, step by step, how to learn the whole concept. And finally, promotion. We have to promote them. Artists shouldn't think about promotion. Artists shouldn't think about, oh, I don't have money to market myself. We have to remove that. That's why that was the 3rd pillar of our project, that we are promoting our artists everywhere around the world.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. What's your take, Aida? What makes an artist successful? Is it these 3 ingredients for photographer?
Yes, I would say we start with our own drive and motivation. So you have to pick the medium that you feel most comfortable with and most attracted to. So then it's not a burden for yourself, even when you have to learn new technologies and new steps to take. After this, I believe it's the exposure, and by exposure I mean, yes, you are on the blockchain, you come on the platforms, this is also exposure, right? So I would advise all artists to try to just show up, show up, show up. That's something that photographers are not used to, because in Web 2 they were represented by galleries, by agents, and now we kind of represent ourselves, so we have to always come out there, right? And this applies to everyone, but yeah, the other genres are a bit more hyped and we are a bit more silent, so I think we also have to get into that and learn from our colleagues, learn from the other genres. We can even collaborate, you know, you can do mixed media and then get a bit stronger and ahead of your basic photography skill. And we need support. What I mean by that is, yes, from the platform, from patrons, from photography lovers, from everyone, because it's a sensitive medium, especially when you work either with people or when you go out there chasing a beautiful scene, you still put yourself at risk. And you don't just sit in front of the computer. Not that I look down to that kind of art, but our art takes time, takes really, really long time to have the final product. So then I believe you have to be consistent, persistent, not give up, show up, market yourself, whatever that means to you, connect to the right people. In the end, the connections are a crucial thing, right? But again, those we are creating only if we come out here and reach out to people or go out in the universities area. Like, even if you are not a teacher, you can still go as an artist and talk about what you do and bringing others. So that's also too, like connections, education. There are many things actually.
It sounds, yeah, I just was about to say, it's a lot, right?
Yes, it's a lot.
If you would need to boil it down to just the one piece of advice that you would give a new photographer entering Web3, one sentence, quickfire, what would it be?
Work your ass off.
Okay, work your ass off. That's a good one.
No, really, like you have to really, really work. And this applies for everyone. Again, many details, but don't have high expectations. You are your own tool, and I think you have to learn how to use that at your own best interest.
Yeah. What do you think, Ben? Wrapping things up, what's the one piece of advice you would give a newcomer photographer?
Yeah, similar to Aida, just, I think, move fast, fuck up a bunch, like just. Sorry, I actually don't. I don't know. Yeah, move fast, break things. I don't know if I can cuss things. Yeah, but like this, your success in the space will be directly connected to your almost like delusional determination to succeed in whatever art that you make. I think that the best artists, to some extent, are almost like fully delusional in their ability to do what they do, and that's what's so beautiful about it, is that they don't care about everybody that's saying no to them or whatever they're doing. They're going to succeed no matter what somebody says, and you really just have to like stick to your guns and just not take any shit. Yeah.
Robert.
I'd echo that. I think for sure, experiment, put yourself out there, be fearless. But at the same time, figure out what it is you want to say. And I think that's something that, photographers today, they are challenged by the fact that there's so many new images that can be generated that look pretty good, that haven't got any human input. And so I think we'll look to see new photographers that really think about what perspective they're taking. Do they want to be super close, super far? Having that sense of scale and space that I think an artist can really determine, and that will, I think, allow them to shine through.
Alex, final last words.
My message to photographers, embrace new technologies, don't afraid to be on board, don't focus only on sell, that's gonna happen. Blockchain and Web3 is about giving your real right back to you. After so many years of being under platforms who are taking 90% of your profit. We need art, and we need art more than ever.
Beautiful set, yeah. That's a nice finish. Thanks, everybody.
And just another round of applause quickly for our amazing moderator, Chris, for his amazing questions.
Thanks a lot.